The freezer aisle hums. It's a low, electric sound that most people don't even register. But if you listen closely, it's the sound of a gamble. The sound of a choice you made 3 weeks ago that you're only now paying for. It begins with a glance. You walk past the fogged-up glass doors, scanning for something that looks like it belongs on your table. Your eyes land on a box with a picture so perfect, it almost looks like it's steaming right through the plastic. And the words? They know exactly what you want to hear. Healthy, smart, balanced. So you reach in. Your hand meets the cold cardboard. You toss it in the cart. You feel like you've won. But here's the unsettling truth that they don't print in big, bold letters. That word on the front? It's not a medical fact. It's not a promise to your kidneys, your heart, or your blood sugar. It's a costume. A mask worn by a product that often contains enough sodium to choke a blood vessel and enough processed starch to make your pancreas wince. And after the age of 60, the stakes are no longer about calories. They are about control. Control over the morning reading that makes you sigh before you've even had your coffee. Control over the inflammation you can't see but can feel in your joints. Control over the muscle that is slowly, quietly slipping away if you don't fight for it. This isn't about losing weight. It's about losing the battle against your own metabolism. But let me show you how to stop losing. Most people approach that aisle like a minefield. They try to pick the least dangerous option, the least amount of fat, the fewest calories. But looking for low fat in a frozen dinner is like looking for a life raft on a desert island. It's the wrong metric entirely. The danger doesn't live in the fat. It lives in the speed at which the food turns to sugar in your bloodstream and the chemical pressure that salt puts on your aging circulatory system. In the next few minutes, I want to rewire your brain. I want to change the algorithm in your head that tells you what healthy looks like. We're going to rank the 5 best frozen meals for blood sugar and type 2 diabetes, specifically calibrated for a body over 60, not a 25-year-old fitness influencer. And we're going to talk about the one choice that almost everyone ignores. I'm not just going to tell you what to buy. I'm going to hand you a system, a 30-second check that works on any box in that store, so you never have to trust a marketing slogan again. Before we do that, I want you to think about your own freezer. How many of those boxes are sitting in there, waiting for you right now? Take a moment. Picture them. Are they full of brightly colored promises, or are they where good intentions go to die? You see, what we call frozen food is actually 2 species sharing the same icy habitat. On one side, you have the wild, untainted animals, the plain green beans, the spinach, the fish fillets with no breading, the skinless chicken breasts. These are frozen at their peak. They are suspended in time, locked in a moment of nutritional perfection. On the other side, you have the manufactured monsters, the trays, the bowls, the pies. These are engineered. And the engineering, well, it isn't designed to keep your blood sugar stable. It's designed to keep you coming back for more. A landmark 2023 study published in Diabetes Care followed nearly 200,000 Americans. The data was staggering. Those who consumed the highest levels of ultra-processed foods faced a roughly 46% higher risk of developing type 2 diabetes. Another massive meta-analysis published in 2025 reinforced that number, finding a relative risk hovering around 1.48. The machines? They aren't the villain. The problem isn't the freezing. The problem is the sodium, the refined starch, and the hidden sugars packed into the preparation. Let me tell you about a man named Ray. Ray is 69. He's a retired teacher. He's living alone now, and he was diagnosed with type 2 last year. He did exactly what anyone would do. He stood in that aisle. He picked up the boxes that said lighter and lean, and he filled his freezer. He believed he was doing the right thing. But every morning his numbers crept up. He wasn't lazy. He wasn't careless. He was reading the wrong side of the box. So let's fix that. Let's learn the 4 numbers that matter and forget the rest. If you want to know if a frozen meal is a friend or a foe, you need to look at the back. But not just the calories. We need to isolate the dangerous 4. Number 1. Sodium. When you hit 51, the rules change. The CDC guidelines suggest aiming for under 1,500 milligrams of sodium a day. That's the upper limit. Now look at your average frozen entree. It often packs 1,000 to 1,500 milligrams in one tray. That means you have just used your entire daily budget of salt on a single plate of noodles. Sodium doesn't just raise your blood pressure, it increases blood volume. And that increased pressure makes your cells more resistant to insulin. It's a double gut punch. We want to stay under 600 milligrams per serving. Number 2. Total carbohydrate. A reasonable range for a meal is about 30 to 45 grams. But watch out for the white rice and pasta hidden underneath. They are the silent assassins of the dinner tray, quietly spiking your glucose levels before you've even put your fork down. Number 3. Fiber. Here is the hero. You want at least 3 grams. Fiber is the panic button for sugar. It slows down the release, creating a barrier that says, "Not so fast, glucose." Number 4. Protein. This might be the most important one for you. We used to think 0.8 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight was enough. But a 2019 review in Frontiers in Nutrition sounded the alarm. That recommendation was based on young men. It's dangerously insufficient as you age. We need to look at 1.0 to 1.5 grams per kilogram. Why? Because of something called anabolic resistance. As we age, our bodies become stubborn. They resist building muscle from the protein we eat. We have to fight back with more protein to preserve what we have, to combat sarcopenia, the natural wasting of muscle that leads to falls, frailty, and metabolic disaster. From this moment on, every choice we look at is held up against these 4 numbers. Let's start with the safest bit, the one you can trust without overthinking. Number 5. The starter kit. When you are learning to read labels, you need a box that has already been vetted by a trusted third party. I'm talking about the Lean Cuisine Balance Bowls line. You've seen them. They come with the Better Choices for Life mark from the American Diabetes Association. Now, let's be clear-eyed about that stamp. It's not a medical miracle. The manufacturer pays a licensing fee. However, to be part of that program, they have to build a product around specific standards. The carbohydrate is usually moderate, and the added sugar is often 0. Here's the catch, though: the sodium. A teriyaki version might look the same as a lemon herb version, but the salt content can swing wildly. Same line, same marketing, vastly different numbers on the back. This is a dependable starting point. It's trust, but verified. It's proof that you can eat a frozen meal without sabotaging your efforts. Number 4. The muscle builder. Once you are comfortable reading the label, you can ask for more. You can ask the meal to fight for you. This is the step up to the power bowls. The pattern here is a bowl built on a whole grain, brown rice, or quinoa. Why? Because these grains have their outer bran layer intact. They break down slowly. They don't assault your blood sugar like refined white rice. A prime example is the Healthy Choice Power Bowls. Dietitians love them. They are accessible, affordable, and high in protein and fiber. But you have to watch the base. 2 bowls from the same brand can look identical on the front, but one is built on brown rice and the other on white rice. That single swap changes the entire metabolic response to the meal. Choose the whole grain version. You've just turned an ordinary frozen dinner into a tool that feeds your muscle instead of just filling you up. Number 3. The emergency button. This one isn't for every day. This is for the days when you wake up, test, and the number on the meter is already high. You haven't eaten a thing. You didn't do anything wrong. The odds are stacked against you before you even start. On those days, you need a specific kind of meal. Very low carb, under 20 grams, and very high protein. Think of it as a fire extinguisher. Real Good Foods fits this role perfectly. They've built their entire identity around low-carb, high-protein meals. This is what turned things around for Ray. On his rough mornings, instead of reaching for the lean pasta boxes, he kept a few of these in reserve. The after-dinner spike he'd come to dread just softened. But I need to give you a serious word of caution here. If you are taking insulin or a medication in the sulfonylurea family, suddenly switching to very low-carb meals can drop your blood sugar too far. A sudden drop is dangerous. If you move this way, this isn't just a grocery decision. It's a conversation with your doctor. You may need to adjust your medication to match your new eating habits. Number 2. The Bean Whisperer. This meal doesn't need a low-carb label to be gentle on your sugar. It manages it naturally. Picture a bowl built on beans, lentils, or non-starchy vegetables. Think a Tex-Mex bowl over black beans, or something anchored by chickpeas. The bean is doing the heavy lifting, not the rice. Here's the mechanism. Beans carry something called resistant starch. It passes through your small intestine almost undigested. It doesn't send your sugar racing up like ordinary starch. Research on chickpea pasta showed that the resistant starch nearly doubled and the glycemic index dropped significantly. It's a measurable shift in how slowly the food releases its sugar. But here is the honest truth. Some of these bean bowls lean heavy on salt to carry the flavor. So even here, you flip the box and check that first number. The beans earn this spot, but only the version that hasn't been drowned in sodium. Number 1. The plain truth. Here is the promise I made you at the very start. The meal almost everyone walks straight past. It isn't a box at all. It isn't the one stamped diabetic friendly. It is a bag of frozen, non-starchy vegetables, broccoli, green beans, spinach, paired with a plain frozen protein, a fish fillet with no breading, a chicken breast, a handful of shrimp. You put them together yourself. It takes about 5 minutes. Why does this sit at the top? Because you finally hold every single number in your own hands. The sodium is close to 0. There is no added sugar. The fiber and protein are high. It costs less than any prepared bowl. There is no waste. It is the purest form of control. This is what pulled Ray's morning numbers down. Not a premium brand, not a clever label. He kept a bag of frozen broccoli and a few fish fillets. On the tired nights, he threw them together. He said he felt almost foolish. After all those months of hunting for the perfect box, the best thing in his whole freezer was the cheapest and plainest. The stuff he'd been walking right past to get to the fancy dinners. That's what best means. Control. Now, let's talk about what to leave on the shelf. The oversized dinners, the hungry man portions, the savory pies with their pastry crusts, the breaded fish and pizzas heavy with cheese, the frozen breakfast sandwiches and desserts. Many of these blow past the 600 milligrams sodium mark in a single serving. Some reach 1,500 milligrams, your entire day's budget. And watch out for hidden sugar. Learn to spot words ending in OSE. Fructose, dextrose, maltose. If it shows up in the first 5 ingredients, it's a red flag. But I don't want you to feel forbidden. If you love a slice of frozen pizza now and then, have it. Balance the rest of your day around it. The harm isn't in one meal. It's in the pattern. It's in the daily habit of letting the box decide what happens to your body. Let me leave you with a few strategies to upgrade any meal. First, the frozen meal plus. Whatever tray you heat, add a handful of frozen vegetables on the side. Add a little healthy fat, a quarter of an avocado, some nuts. Each of those adds fiber and staying power, slows the sugar, and brings almost no extra carbohydrate. Second, portion size. Turn the box over and read the serving size carefully. What looks like a single dinner is very often labeled as 2 servings. The numbers you saw on the front? Doubled if you eat the whole thing. Third, and this is a neat trick. When you cook a starch like rice, then cool it for 12 to 24 hours and reheat it, part of that starch changes into a resistant form. Studies on cooled white rice show a lower blood sugar response. Strong for rice, less so for potatoes. Treat it as a small bonus, not a miracle. The freezer aisle was never your enemy. The words on the front were the illusion. The real decision lives in the numbers. Learn to read those, and the marketing loses its power. We are talking about a body past 60. Used well, that freezer is a tool that holds your blood sugar steady and protects your muscle. Used blindly, it works against you, like it did for Ray. If your morning numbers have stayed stubborn, this might be the reason. So, here is your plan. Starting tonight, turn the box over. Check the 4 numbers. Ignore the front. Add vegetables to everything. Keep the plain stuff stocked. And if you are moving lower carb, talk to your doctor about adjusting your meds. Walk into that aisle with clear eyes. You are not just buying dinner. You are buying the morning you are going to have tomorrow. Take care of yourself. You are doing more right than you know.